All righty. Sam Amick of The Athletic joins us each and every Thursday at 8 o'clock. And today he just so happens to be joining us the night after the Kings home opener. Sam, good morning. Is Mike Brown on the hot seat? Go.
No, Dave, this is not his Lakers experience back in the day when he lost his job after 5 games. There's Pierre and hit it on the head. They gave it away. So, onward and upward.
Yes, and I hope that Sam, are you traveling around or walking somewhere right now? I'm just wondering about that. That phone's getting dodgy.
Apologies, buddy. How is the quality now?
That quality is fantastic. Let me before I turn it over to Jason here, get an answer to a question that's kind of King-centric. I just want to get out of the way before I forget. I had mentioned Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers will visit Sacramento on Saturday. I don't know if you have any intel on that, but the question was because the Clippers are facing the Suns on Sunday in a back-to-back, do you expect to see Kawhi in Sacramento playing on Saturday?
That's a good question. I don't have clarity. I would think this early in the season, I'd be pretty surprised if he didn't play, though. I mean, they want to get off to a good start, but I had not pondered that question, and back-to-backs, I did not anticipate being part of the plan.
Yeah.
All right. Again, all guests come to you from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Sam Amick joining us. Sam, Dave and I were talking about, local optimism here in Sacramento about what the Kings are trying to build and with their offseason and Mike Brown and so on and so forth. But it felt like nationally they're getting a few more believers. Not that one game derails that by any means, but do you sense that kind of vibe around this Kings team going into this year?
Yeah, you do. But the problem is, and I'm honestly part of that. Guys, I
he apologized.
I apologize. I did not pay my bill. What happened there?
Yeah. Did somebody break in and say, Sam, you didn't pay your bill? Oh.
No, I'm going to own it because you guys are fathers. We're going to school, and we're having a hard time getting to school. So apologies.
Are you late for school, Sam?
Are you late? Are you having a hard time because of the kids giving you a hard time or traffic?
Oh, yeah. Let's just say the mute button is such a wonderful tool. But they're not happy with me right now. Sorry.
Yeah, well, you control the wallet. Tell them to chill out.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm part of it. Like, here's, I guess on a somewhat lighter note, and you guys know, like, in the business, we don't root. And I say all the time, though, I want Kings fans to have fun again. So that is a true statement for me. But then I wrote a story on De'Aaron Fox that this was my fault, but it was supposed to be out yesterday. I didn't get it done in time. And so we said, well, let's just run it after the first game. But as we're watching the game last night, of course, I'm sitting there going, this story would really pop a little more if they actually win the game. And so it's like, but to your question, I'm part of that media industry where we, I think with good reason have been, having a lot of positivity around what Mike Brown has been talking about and the culture he's been trying to build and the talent. And you saw it last night, but and even De'Aaron's interview, again, he hit all of Mike's talking points. So that he's listening, which is defend without fouling.
Yep.
They didn't do that. Turnovers, obviously, second chance points are a problem. But now you look up and you have a schedule where you play the Clippers, the Warriors, the Grizzlies, and the Heat. And, that's where it's deja vu all over again in Sacramento, where that positivity could get tough to hold on to if, you have a tough start to the season.
Sam Amick joining us from The Athletic. I want to go around the NBA just really quick before we get back to the Sacramento Kings. Utah beat the Nuggets by 21. There were some other sort of surprising things happening, including I thought the Thunder ended up playing the T-Wolves pretty decently, but when it comes to that, Sam, is that to you, and I know it's early, more of an outlier, or could the Jazz be slightly, better than we thought?
I mean, it can be better than we thought. I think the thing to monitor now is, do they want to be better than we thought? The players certainly do, and that's where last night, looked impressive. Jordan Clarkson's a good player. Mike Conley's a good player. Colin Sexton coming off the bench, they got popped. They looked good. They were up huge on Denver. I was watching that game for most of the night, and I was confused by it because Danny Ainge is the one running their front office, and the question now is, what direction are they going to take things? And that's where the whole tanking, prospect gets hard because unless they trade those players, and those are a bunch of players that would help other teams, those guys are going to want to compete, and they're not going to bench those guys. So bad night for Denver and kind of a curious night for Utah.
Yeah. And do you think, Sam, there is as much hype around Wembanyama as we've seen a top pick in a long time. I know you can lose all the games you want. It doesn't guarantee you the pick, but it increases your odds. Do you think we're going to have a large amount of teams? A significant amount that would prefer to lose?
I do. I'm reacting to just the conversation, but they've also flattened the odds in the drafts, obviously, and there's just it's tough to get that job done if you're trying to tank. But it's like, all right, but Victor's in a class all his own. But you got Scoot Henderson, who's a pretty darn good player and who looked really good in those Vegas face-offs against Victor. That kind of being a bridesmaid is not too bad either in this draft. But I don't know. It's the game of musical chairs does not bode well for all these teams that might just absolutely try to tank. So I'm curious to see it. I heard a story the other day that I think illuminates what you're asking, Jay, about, like the Lakers and how Rob Pelinka had gone out to watch the Wembanyama games. And I don't know which teams, but, supposedly a bunch of executives from teams that didn't seem previously very interested in talking about trading for Russell Westbrook, like we're at least mildly open to it because it was like, all right, maybe we'll take Russ off your hands and we'll what are they saying? They'll sink for Vic, or I don't know. We always come up with some nickname,
Right.
So that's the thing that is for sure going to be a major story this whole season.
Bomb for Wembanyama? I don't know.
No, somebody came up with a good one, but I'm blanking on it. It's like brick for Vic. Maybe
Right.
That was it. Yeah.
Sam Amick with us. Sam, you have a very good relationship with Jeannie Buss. You've done some great reporting on the Lakers and the behind the scenes. Can you help me understand why Rob Pelinka has a job, and more importantly, why he just got an extension?
The extension, at face value, I understand the desire, and this is actually fitting to talk about in Sacramento. There's been discussion about Monty McNair in that front office not having a contract, and that's now put them on a different track with Mike Brown.
Yep.
So it's not crazy that teams would want the GM and the coach to line up, and so Rob and Darvin line up. She wants stability, but yeah, the optics are pretty terrible when you see how bad they looked on the first night, and then you see LeBron James just, absolutely wasting no time telling the world how he truly feels about the roster when he highlights their lack of shooting. So you're not, that is a very popular question these past couple days.
On the other side of things, the Warriors get the rings, come out and look, for the most part, Warrior-esque. How do you think the champs' odds are of doing something special again, especially with the unevenness of that offseason and that situation, certainly with Draymond and Poole?
I'm impressed that they've navigated it so well. I was down there for the opener, and it's wild. I go into the Warriors locker room after the game, and actually, I don't really know Jordan Poole. I did do a sit down thing with him last year. Found him to be a pretty pleasant dude, and I'm talking to he was myself and my colleague Marcus Thompson talking to Jordan, kind of lightheartedly about his media and how he handles it. And he just was in a great mood, and he just was so low key. And I'm thinking, God, you just would not know everything they'd been through. And the Warriors, yet again, are seemingly navigating it really well and looking like a team that certainly is capable of defending their title and winning, a fifth championship in this run. That being said, I think, we'll continue monitoring like the Draymond dynamic with his teammates, the Draymond dynamic with the organization. I don't think is, healed is just not the word that I would use. It is, it is managed. And I think it will continue to be a sensitive situation going forward.
Sam, I just have 30 seconds here, but was the Jordan Poole and Wiggins back-to-back signings, in your opinion, just a happy coincidence, or can you draw a line to the Draymond Green incident?
That was, Draymond not getting an extension was already the expectation before the punch.
Yeah.
Jordan Poole getting an extension was the expectation before the punch. The Wiggins, it was likely, but I think it just crystallized things for the Warriors. But it does now create, this backdrop where they've sent the clear message that they're choosing, the young over the old. Steph's got his deal, and Clay's got a couple years left. But Clay also could have gotten an extension this summer. It just was already decided, and Clay understood that wasn't going to happen. So there's a major kind of wind change here, and they're trying to do that old and new track and have feelings not get hurt along the way, and that's a pretty impossible proposition.
That's Sam Amick of The Athletic right now. $19.99 for an entire year, which is approximately what I pay a month, but the rest of you guys can get in on that immediately and read Sam, Matt Barrows, Jason Jones, Zach Harp, so many different folks doing wonderful work at The Athletic, and you're going to get not just breaking news, but fantastic analysis and insight all year long in a very nicely curated app. Samuel, thank you. Drunk neighbor John is pushing me to ask you, why don't your kids walk to school? We'll save that for another day. I know.
I'm bored. Yeah. Oh, I should have.
I know. Unbelievable. See you, buddy.